What exactly is structured water, and why should we even care about it?
Okay, it's a good question. It took me some months, maybe a year, to understand as well what structured water is. So maybe I can give you a short story of how I came to structured water, how I arrived to that, and how I was able to put together all the pieces
Please.
and to find uh, to give also a scientific environment to all this structured water that many times, and you can see there are a lot of products, and I'm sure there are a lot of good products in the market, but there is always a little bit of strange way of introducing and explaining what it's really happening to the water in the water charges in the structure. So I stumbled upon water chargers like 3 years ago. It was 4 years ago, and it was a colleague of mine. He just showed me these chargers. Said these are amazing. They can change your life. They can change the water you drink. You can taste it differently. You can feel it differently in your skin. Just go with it. And I tasted it. He said, yeah, it's good, but I couldn't find any real difference. So I said, okay, I'm quite skeptical in this kind of approaches. So I tend to be very critical on things that I don't understand. So it's, but luckily, in that moment, there was a doctor which was trained under your father. So Dr. Caputo tested the chargers with the Laker antenna, and she could immediately find a very high frequency in it. And so I said, okay, that was just the first brick to my wall of knowledge of this. I said, okay, if this is the response of the Laker antenna, I said, let's go deeper. So after a week after that, I was taken to an animal farm, to a guy in Italy who is feeding cows with this kind of water. And the first thing that I noticed was that this water, when I got down from the car, I couldn't smell the typical manual smell of a place with 1,000 cows. So I said, well, that's strange. Second thing, it was summer. There were no flies. So normally there are hundreds or maybe thousands of flies per cow. And so I said, wow, that's interesting. And so the farmer told me that since he started giving this kind of water, structured water, to his cows, he didn't have to use anymore any kind of antibiotics. Cows were happy, they grew better, they didn't have all those kinds of problems that normally they have living all together in a smaller space. And at the end of the period, they were also bigger than normal. So, and everything was because of the water. So I said, okay, that's very interesting. After that, I went to Slovenia and I met the guy who invented this water charger. His name was Igor Sajovic. Unfortunately, he passed away a few months ago, but he was 95 years old. He was an amazing man, an amazing scientist. And when I met him, he gave me a very simple explanation that I could understand afterwards. He said, everything is a matter of electrons. Mm. So this water is rich of electrons. And if you give electrons to your body, all the free radicals which are charged positively, they want steal electrons from the cells. And so they will they will be neutralized by the water rich of electrons, by the electrons that you put in your body with the water, and you will be fine. So this was his very simple explanation. And he said, I just observed how water works on Earth, in nature, you have water that is drained in the ground. It goes under the ground. It moves in vortexes. It goes through different magnetic fields given by different minerals that constitute the different layers of the Earth. And so it comes up from at the spring, which this very big strength then it's lost during all its way to our households. But basically, this is what I made in this water charge, as he told me. I just put together what nature is doing to water. So water, when it goes inside the water chargers, it's subject to vortexes. There is an electromagnetic field. There is a special compound made of ceramics and different minerals, and it comes out charged. And so you drink this water, you bath in this water, and everything sounds good. But still, it wasn't I wasn't satisfied yet with the explanation of this. It was too easy, just electrons going up and down. And so, well, okay. Then I was able to put everything together when I finally read the book of Professor Gerald Pollack. He's professor at the University of Washington in Seattle, and he discovered what he called the fourth phase of water. So what he noticed is that when you take a hydrophilic material and you put it in water, you can notice that water separated into charge. There is a negatively charged water that goes near the hydrophilic surface, and positively charged water goes away from the surface. So this part of negatively charged water, he called it easy water, so exclusion zone water, because it's a part of water where there is nothing else but negatively charged water. So it came up and said, since our cells are made of hydrophilic material, so all the body that is in our body, all the water that is in our body is made of easy water, so negatively charged water.
That's really fascinating, and I want to get to that because you're basically saying there are different types of water, right? And you're going into the science of H2O2 versus H2O3, which
Correct.
Professor Pollack recognized as another endogenous water source within us.